Today's video is simply a review of cross products and how we can use cross products to solve proportions. The definition of a cross product is the ratio of one denominator in a fraction times the other fraction's numerator. Now, what does that all look like? Well, we want to know if the following ratios are proportional. So if you look at the definition, we're going to multiply one fraction's denominator times the other fraction's numerator. So you can see when we do this, we can go 3 times 10 is 30. And if we do the same thing on the other side, 5 times 6 is 30. And since the cross products of those two fractions are equal, then these two fractions are proportional. So we can use that formula to decide if two sets of ratios are proportional. So take a look. Let's just go to number 3 right here. If we did cross products, you would multiply 11 times 9 and get 99. And if we multiply 6 times 16, we only get 96. So since the difference between those two numbers, there is a difference between those two numbers, they're not the same. 96 does not equal 99. Those are not proportional. All right, again, if we look at this one's very simple. I'm doing these in my head, but 14 times 20 is 280. And we know that 8 times 30 is 240, plus 8 times 5 is 40. That is also 280. So if we were trying to decide if these ratios form a proportion, yes, these do, no, these don't. And the final way we're going to use proportions is we're going to use them to help solve proportions. So the thing that you have to look at when you're dealing with word problems and proportions is the units. Okay, if you can look at the first problem we have human hair growing, and that's what we're talking about. It grows 0.7 centimeters in 2 weeks. So how long does it take to grow 14 centimeters? So here's the big note. You have to keep similar units on top of the fraction or on the bottom of the fraction. So what are the similar units? So we're going to have two fractions right here, and we know it's going to be proportional because hair always grows at the same rate. So if I say in 0.7 centimeters is on top, on the other fraction, 14 centimeters has to be on top. Okay, so if it takes 2 weeks to grow, we're going to just write weeks here so we know what we're dealing with. How many weeks does it take to grow this? So guess what we're going to use? Cross product. So we're going to take the cross product of 2 times 14, which is 28, and then we have, let's just call this W over here, 0.7 times W. So now we're going to have a one-step equation. 0.7W equals 28. We can divide both sides by 0.7. And if I do that, we're going to wind up with W equals 40. So since we know that it takes 0.7 centimeters for hair to grow in 2 weeks to grow 7 centimeters, how long does it take to grow 14 weeks? It's 40 weeks, or 14 centimeters to grow 40 weeks.